In this video, we will practice some problems involving square roots. Our first problem is the positive square root of 36. Since I know that 36 is 6 squared, this means that the positive square root of 36 is 6. Our next problem is a little different. It's the positive square root of 196. Now, I don't know 196 offhand, but I do know that 196 is 2 times 98. And I know that 98 is 2 times 2 times 49. And this helps me to see that I have 2 squared times 7 squared, which means since 2 squared is 4, the square root of 2 squared would just be 2, and the square root of 7 squared would just be 7. So that means that the square root of 198 must be 14. Another problem would be something like, what is the negative square root of 81? Well, since I know that 81 is 9 squared, that must mean the negative square root of 81 must be negative 9. And finally, let's consider the negative square root of 289. Now this one's challenging because I don't know 289 offhand. But if I keep trying some numbers, like I know that 15 times 15 is 225. So that means 289 has to be bigger than 15. And if I test 17, 17 times 17 is 289. So the negative square root of 289 must be the same as 17 squared, which means I must have negative 17 as the negative square root of 289. Why don't you try a couple yourself? First, why don't you try the negative square root of 49? Then try the square root of 225. Then try the square root of 64. And when you're done with that, go ahead and try the negative square root of 121. Go ahead and hit pause and try them yourself. I'm going to assume you tried them yourself just like you would have in class. We know that 49 is the same thing as 7 squared, so the negative square root of 49 must be negative 7. We saw earlier that 225 is 15 squared, so the positive square root of 225 must be 15. We know that 64 is the same thing as 8 squared, so the positive square root of 64 must be 8. And finally, we know that 121 is 11 squared, so the negative square root of 121 must be negative 11. In the next video, we'll extend this idea just a bit further.